This is Eric Glass. In Lily's family, there's a story everybody knows by heart. If this story had never happened,
all of us wouldn't be here right now.
Sammy wouldn't be here.
Nana wouldn't be here. Wally wouldn't be here. Anyone that we know wouldn't be here.
So what happens when Lily's mom tells her the story is not true? This American Life, surprising stories every week.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. And we're broadcasting this week from the Crash Test Support Division here at Car Talk Plaza. Now, the folks at NHTSA, everyone knows NHTSA.
You mean the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration?
Yes, those are the guys that crash the cars in order to determine which ones are safe and which ones have to be sold with the funeral wreath mounted right on the grill. Anyway, they're rethinking the crash test dummy phenomenon, or whatever you want to call it.
I read that. There was an article in
every paper.
In Automotive News.
Yes.
Everywhere in the world there was an article, yeah.
And anyway, NHTSA has been using one kind of crash test dummy for years, and it apparently just dawned on them that using only one body type is ridiculous because drivers come in an infinite variety of body types, right?
You ain't kidding.
So now they're
I've
building.
I've been married to most of them, personally.
Dig yourself.
Not all of them.
Dig yourself right in, man.
Half of them.
Half? Which half would that be?
I don't think I want to go there.
Well, anyway, they are now building, or maybe breeding is the right word, a whole family of dummies for crash testing.
Yeah.
Now, right now, they're using like a 5'10", 170-pound male dummy, modeled after my brother. And some other members of NHTSA's new dummy family will be, for example, a 5'3", 107-pound female and a child dummy. I know a few kids that could.
Yeah. I
think
this is important. I mean, the child dummy, the trouble is that they don't do it right. Here's the problem, because NHTSA is a bunch of engineers. And so when they do these tests, like they have the driver sitting there behind the steering wheel with like both hands on the steering wheel.
Right.
And then they crash the car.
No, you need to...
What about the guy leaning over? He's getting coffee out of the cup holder. He's changing the radio station.
Oh, he's trying to fish out a cigarette that fell down between his legs.
Right? I mean, that's when the accidents happen.
Right, with his butt lifted off the seat and his head leaning forward.
His head is leaning
Exactly.
forward.
The accidents
You
happen.
don't have an accident when you're sitting there behind the wheel with both hands on the steering wheel.
Not usually.
No,
when you're groping for that cassette tape that fell into the seat.
Exactly. When you're leaning behind you to get stuff out of the back
Or to
seat.
give the kids a dope slap.
Exactly right. So we're going to try to straighten them out. I mean, like the thing with the kids. They got a 60-pound baby or something they're going to put in the back seat. But what they really should have is a couple of kids trying to strangle each other. and one of them trying to push the other one out the window. That's what realism is. Come on, guys, get it straight.
And there's got to be a mother-in-law done. 4'11", 350. Sitting in the back seat, but leaning forward.
Yeah.
Leaning forward.
Between the seats.
Between the seats, trying to tell the
son-in-law.
The son-in-law where to go.
Or how to use the global positioning system. Pressing all the buttons. What's this one for? What's this one for, David?
Boom. Anyway, if you want to talk to a couple of real dummies, the number is 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
My name is Amy, and I have a 76 orange Chevy Love. And I've been experiencing some problems with the lights just going off when I'm driving.
You got a Love that's 22 years old?
Yeah.
Did you have it up on blocks?
No, I got it at an auction, though, for $600. So.
When, in 78?
No. No, last year, actually. My dad bought it for me, and that's another issue that I want to get into. But it's related to this whole light thing going out because I want to try to fix this before my dad gets too upset with me because he's supporting me through grad school right now. So that's a whole other issue, too.
Man. All right.
Well, what are you pursuing in grad school?
I'm getting my master's in technical communications.
Where do you go to school?
I go to Oregon State University.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Okay. You got this old beat-up truck, and what's the problem with it?
Well, okay, so I was driving on this curb at night, and the lights just blinked out on me. So I pulled over, and I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? My gosh, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So I turned the hazards on, and I could drive like that with the light of the hazards, but it was very, very minimal. And I was,
That's good.
I was concerned that someone would hit me mostly.
I was just visualizing you, since the hazards flash on and off. I was wondering if you stepped on the gas when they were on and then they take your foot off the gas when they go off.
No, I just kept
So
on
your
trucking.
headlights conked out on you. Is that what
Correct,
you're saying?
correct.
Okay.
And so then I stopped at this guy's house, and who incidentally I went to high school with, I found out. But anyways, so he changed the fuse, and it worked. I thought it was just a fuse that had blown, and then it went out again that same night. And so I thought, well, I'm quitting this. So I called my brother, and he took me home. And so they just don't work at night. So I haven't been driving the car at night. So the car runs fine otherwise.
Yeah.
I jiggled the wires that go into the fuse box, and they
good.
blinked on. So then I drove, like, really sweaty and nervous back home from Portland to Corvallis. But I know sometimes if I'll hit a bump, the lights will kind of dim a little bit, and but they won't. They'll just kind of blink off, but they'll come back on sometimes, and then sometimes they'll just blink off completely. So.
And he replaced one fuse, and
Right.
all the headlights then worked?
Right, and it was. I have the fuse box cover right here. It says the 10A headlamp lower L, so 10 amp.
Well, that's low beam left.
Yeah, but he did that one, and it worked.
Here's what happens oftentimes. You think that, quote, all your headlights blew out.
Right.
And in fact, you only had one headlight working.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't notice it. And what blew out is the last of the headlights, and the other one was gone already. So when you say they've come back on,
Yeah.
have you actually witnessed both headlights being lit at the same time?
Yes.
From outside the truck?
Yeah.
Oh.
When they stopped working that first night,
Yeah.
did the high beams also fail?
Yes.
So you had no beams whatsoever,
Right.
highs or lows.
But parking lights I have.
No, I know, but he puts this one fuse in,
Right.
and all of a sudden,
Everything works.
everything works. You have all four beams.
Right.
Yeah. It means you got bad connections somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a short someplace.
Yeah.
And
The fuse didn't really fix it.
Okay.
well, what I suspect happened is when he replaced that one fuse, he must have touched one of the adjacent fuses. Which are these the old style glass fuses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably all corrosion in there. It may not be a short. It may just be a lousy connections.
So maybe
Yeah.
just a new car. Maybe that's all I'll tell Dad.
No, this is a simple thing, relatively. So now we know what it is. It's the fuse box, and it's either the wires going to the fuse box, or it's the fuse box itself, or it's the fuses.
Okay, so-
it's one of those
And I'm going to
things.
suggest that fuse didn't even blow. What happened was it just broke from old age.
Yeah, and it just jiggled itself loose.
So
maybe.
so then if I have to tell my dad that, and so that he'll replace the fuse box, or what do I do? So
He ain't
that
going to replace anything, and you ain't going to find the fuse box for this thing.
So then I think I should get a new truck. then.
Well,
No.
You can take the fuse box. You can have the fuse box removed if it's all corroded, and you can have individual fuses put in, but you'll have to do some wiring.
For like $1 million.
No.
This is not rocket science.
Oh, okay.
But you're going to have to take it someplace and tell them what's going on, and they're going to jiggle the wires that connect to the fuse box, and they're going to get the lights to go on and off.
And they'll say, this is what's wrong.
And maybe they can fix it, and maybe they can't, but I suspect they will be able to. And they may have to eliminate the fuse box and put all inline fuses in.
Okay.
But that's not
And then
hard
they can
to
label them for you: lights, heater, etc. And so you'll figure out as they blow.
do.
what each
8-track.
Yeah.
Right. Good luck, Amy.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 1-888 Car Talk. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Bill from Dover, Delaware.
Hey, Bill.
Bill.
Why do I have the feeling we've spoken before?
Everybody says that.
Really?
They say I have a voice that sounds like everybody
Oh,
else.
you sound like that guy from the IRS that keeps calling.
Oh, man, he's calling you too?
Anyway, what's up?
Well, about 10 days ago, I'm driving to the airport with my wife, and the airport's about an hour and a half away. We went to Baltimore. Well, 6 o'clock in the morning, we're halfway there. Man, the temperature gauge goes up, skyrockets.
Oh.
Jeez, I
Isn't
pull
it
over.
always the way?
Oh, man, I had a flight at 7:10, and it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we decided to go to the Western Auto. It opened at 8 o'clock, and sure enough, the water hose was broken on the top,
Yeah.
Well, anyway, since then, the temperature gauge has been fluctuating up and down.
And all you did that day was replace a hose?
Yes.
Now you haven't told us yet what kind of a car it is.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
I wanted to guess.
Okay.
Really? You're going to guess what kind of a car it is?
Well, I'm going to start big.
You're going to stop?
I'm going to start with I'm going to scale it down. Does it have 4 wheels?
Yes.
All right. Is it made in America?
No,
Yes.
it is.
I won't buy anything else except American.
Okay, well, I have no idea what it is.
I don't either. I was
give
going to
up.
guess it was a Volvo until he said that.
I was going to guess it was a Honda. I was heading for Honda, but
Yeah.
It's a 93 Sable station wagon, Mercury Sable station wagon.
okay.
Which hose was it?
It was the top hose,
the
real
radiator.
short one.
Yeah.
No, coming off the water pump.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a right-angled hose.
Oh, the little skinny hose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
I'm
blow
with
all the
you.
time.
Okay.
And now the temperature gauge has been erratic.
Right.
When you did this,
Yes.
you saw that the hose was broken. You pulled off the old hose. How much stuff did you lose?
He didn't do it himself. They did it.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, everything was.
But you were
lost.
watching them. How much fluid did they lose?
No, he was in the waiting room pacing. He was
Yeah,
going
I
to miss
was
his
in the waiting
plane.
room. They wouldn't let me in.
He doesn't know how much he lost.
Oh, you don't know any of these answers.
No, what they did was they put the hose on there, but knowing you were in a hurry or maybe not doing a complete job, they left some air in the system.
They didn't bleed it.
Ah.
So I think it's airbound.
That's what it is. There's
did it
air in
overheat
the system.
that day that hose blew? Did it overheat?
Yes, it did.
Well, then I would change the thermostat because you probably croaked it.
Ah, okay.
I would replace the thermostat and get all the air out of there, fill it up to the tippity top with antifreeze, and everything will happen like it's supposed to.
Ah, great.
See you, Bill.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey, we've got more calls on the puzzler answer coming up right after this.
This message comes from Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. With Wise, you can send, spend, or receive money across borders, all at a fair exchange rate. No markups or hidden fees. Join millions of customers and visit wise.com. T's and C's apply. This message comes from Monday.com. Work management platforms. Red tape, endless adoption time, IT bottlenecks. And after all that, nobody really uses them. But what if you didn't hate your work platform? What if you actually loved it? Monday.com Work Management Platform is different. You can make any changes you want and adapt it to your needs in an instant. No admin middlemen. That's why people actually love using it. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
At Radiolab, we love nothing more than nerding out about science, neuroscience, chemistry.
But we do also like to get into other kinds of stories. Stories about policing or
Politics,
country music,
hockey.
sex, of bugs.
Regardless of whether we're looking at science or not science, we bring a rigorous curiosity to get you the answers.
And hopefully make you see the world anew.
Radiolab, adventures on the edge of what we think we know.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Jarl and Pamela Mohn, thanking the people who make public radio great every day and also those who listen.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk
Wake
with
me
us.
up.
Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, here with the answer to last week's puzzler. Do you remember last week's puzzler?
No. No idea whatsoever. Crusty? No.
I don't remember.
Automotive?
I'm hoping.
No.
I was hoping you remember.
I don't have any idea.
No, it was an automotive riddle of sorts. And what I liked about this, it was historic, folkloric, challenging. What do you call that? What other
Interesting.
Interesting and vague. We have a new category.
New category. Vague.
Vague is good.
I do remember that I didn't understand the question.
You didn't.
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't know what you were talking about. But I knew that when you gave the answer, I would say, oh, that's what the question was.
There you go.
So the question itself was a puzzle.
There was really only one, and I'll repeat the question.
Go ahead.
What is it that we happy few,
We happy few.
for
From
a
10
long
to 10.
time could really do with our cars?
Yeah.
Okay, get that part. Right?
Yeah.
And that could be
Anything.
a lot of things.
Yeah, like drive 600 miles an hour.
Then for a while, we could do it quite easily. And no hints so far. I mean, this could be, again, a million things.
Yeah.
And now we can still do it, but here's the hint. It would take us 10 times longer to do it, if at all. And that's really the only hint,
That's
10
the 10.
times longer.
Yeah. If we take the 10 literally.
Well, it is literal. I didn't say about 10.
You said 10.
I said 10. It would take you 10 times longer to do it.
Yeah.
Well, if you go back to the early days of cars, the thing that you could never get your car to do was to make it to 100,000 miles and flip the odometer over from all nines to all zeros.
Uh-huh.
And then as cars improved, you were able to do that.
Sure.
But now you can't do it on most cars because they've added another digit. They've added a 6th digit.
And you'd have
so
to
you're going
go
to go
a
to
million
999. You're going to go to 1,000,000 miles. And it's 10 times harder to do it, therefore, than it used to be. Do we have a winner? He hates
You're not
it.
as big a jerk as I thought you were. No, I like it. Yeah, that's
And
good.
The best part is it's vague.
It's vague. Yeah, we do have a winner. It's Ray Reynolds from Renton, Washington.
Oh, right. He ain't buying. He's renting.
Ray Reynolds from Renton, Washington. And Ray is going to get one of our wonderful, beautiful, and lovely T-shirts inscribed with this very strange boast. Car Talk, celebrating 10 years of bad car advice. I think that's pretty nice. Of course, no one would wear a shirt like that, but since they're 100% cotton, Ray, you can use it to mop up anything that happens to be on the floor that you don't want to be on the floor. You spill a glass of orange juice, bingo! The Car Talk T-shirt.
T-shirt's
is
at
right
the ready.
there, at the ready, mopping up everything. The most absorbent T-shirt on the market.
Good enough. Anyway, we'll have a brand new puzzle coming up in the third half of today's show, so don't touch that dial. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Paul from Bel Air, Maryland.
Bel Air.
You know where Bel Air is?
No.
Well, it's the boyhood home of John Wilkes Booth.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, man.
And his 2 brothers. What were his brothers' names?
That's right. You had to ask me, didn't you? His father was Junius, and his brother was Edwin.
One brother was also named Junius.
Oh, okay.
Junius, Edwin, and John. There was a song. What's his name did that?
Who? It sounds like a Gordon Lightfoot song.
No, Dion. Junius. No, never mind.
So, Paul, what's up?
Well, I have an 85 Nissan Sentra wagon, and it makes a variety of interesting and sometimes shocking noises. The first one, kind of like a...
Okay.
It's kind of a creaking noise, which it tends to make most of the time, or most easily heard when you apply the brakes as you come to a stop.
Ah!
Okay.
Good.
All right. First, I got that. Oh, but. There's a but.
Yeah, you also can hear it if you're very careful. Like if I'm just idling and coasting down to a stop, I can still hear the noise very softly even before I apply the brake.
Got it.
That's okay.
That's easy.
We can live with that one.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Well, for that one, I took it back to the tire place because I recently had the front tires replaced, and I thought maybe it was a new, noise from the tires.
Great.
Okay.
They couldn't find anything wrong with the tires. They said they did find a high spot on the right front rotor.
Yes.
I said, okay. And apparently they tried to sand off the rust or whatever they did to the rust, cleaned it up, and but the noise was still there.
So this noise appeared after you had the tires put on.
Yeah.
Well,
And we
that's the first time
understand all those facts. That's okay. Next noise.
Okay, the next noise is one that I've been having for, I don't know, at least a year, probably more than that. And it happens primarily when I'm rounding a corner. Like, say I've been at a light, and the light turns green, and I want to turn left. I think it happens also when I turn right. But anyway, most of the way through the turn, I get this clunk noise in the back of my
single
wagon.
loud clunk?
Yeah, just a clunk.
Okay.
So, I started hearing this noise. I took it in and I said, hey, I'd like to make sure that, the tail end of my car isn't going to fall off. Are my brakes alive? Is my car okay? They looked at it, they said, noise? What noise? I don't hear any noise. You hear any noise?
But the clunk is coming from the front, isn't it?
No. The clunk seems to come from the back.
Ah, good.
And that only happens, I don't know. I drive the car, I carpool, and so I drive the car to work maybe 2-3 times a week. I might hear it, once, twice a week.
Is it worse when you have people in the back seat?
I always have people in the back seat.
Otherwise, you're not driving.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent. Good.
Good. Okay.
You are a great caller, by the way, Paul. You got all the answers. You got all the information. You've done everything.
Right. And
Everything.
there's virtually no excuse for our not having a definitive answer for you.
Exactly.
A succinct and concise and accurate, useful answer.
We can't, in this case, ever say, well, go back and try out such and such and call us back.
Well,
See, we use that as the final out when we are completely baffled.
Well, I'll give you an out. How's this one? I failed to tell you previously that my wife has a degree in art history.
That may come in handy.
That will come in handy. We'll use that somehow. Yeah. The first noise is not your tires.
It's not.
But it may have been caused by the tire, people, and you do have a warped disc.
Okay.
What you're hearing, especially when you step on the brake, is you're hearing that high spot on that warped disc come around and hit the pads. And if you were really sensitive to it, you'd actually feel the brake pedal pulsing a little bit underneath your foot.
Yeah, the guy at the tire store reported feeling that pulse.
Sure.
I didn't feel it.
And they may have snugged up the lug nuts a little too tight, and that could have caused it to happen after you put the tires on.
Okay.
They may have. Sometimes if you tighten the lug nuts excessively or in the wrong order, you don't crisscross and you just plant one and then plant the one next to it, it's possible to warp a disc.
Okay.
But you'll never blame it. You'll never blame that on them.
Okay.
They've
They'll
probably
never
already
accept
changed the
the
name of
blame,
their
at least.
business anyway. So
Yeah, they're not there anymore.
And I'm not that concerned about that. But I am more concerned about the clunking noise in the rear.
You are.
I am. But I think you have a bad shock in the back. I think that's what, I assume that somebody has put the thing up in the air and verified
that nothing's falling off.
Nothing's going to fall off back there.
Yes.
Yeah. And if an 85 Central wagon, this must have struts in the rear.
Does it have coil springs?
Yeah, it has coil springs and struts and all
Yes.
that. Yeah, and I think you have a bad strut.
Okay.
And it's probably sticking. And when you put all those fat co-workers in the back seat and you squish the springs down and then you make a turn, the shock that's stuck in the down position gets freed up and you'll get that one loud snap from it.
Huh.
I think that's
that
what
makes
it is.
sense. So you're saying that when it clunks, it's because it's stuck, and if it doesn't clunk, it's because most of the time it isn't sticking.
Right.
Okay.
I think.
That's the theory here.
That's the current theory, and it may be wrong.
Okay. Well, it probably is, but
Yeah. You can pretty much be guaranteed that the second answer's wrong. It's almost a certainty.
And that your wheels are probably going to fall off. But thank God you're driving and you're not in the back seat.
with the fat guys.
With the fat guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
1-888-CAR Talk. That's 1-888-22-82-75-45. Hike. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
How are you guys?
Hey, who's this?
Hi, this is John from New York.
Hey, John.
New York City?
Yeah, New York City.
Manhattan, New York
You
City?
got it.
Really?
Yeah, my car question is germane to my situation here in New York, actually.
Yeah.
I have an 87 Tercel, and it's got only about 87,000 miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
But since moving here to New York about 3 or 4 years ago, we put it in a garage.
Uh-huh.
And, we never get out of the city.
Yeah.
We take it out, so it gets out maybe once a month, sometimes maybe not for a couple of months, 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I'm concerned, when we do take it out, we're usually going for a fairly long trip, and I'm concerned that a period of time where it's sitting in the garage, like the oil's turning to gum or something like that, is there anything I should be doing to make sure that that period of time is okay?
How long a ride would you go on every 2 or 3 months?
Well, typically...
Come to Boston, for example?
Yeah, exactly.
And the garage in which it's parked is where? In your building?
No, it's down. It's in the city, but it's out close to the highway.
Does anyone who's in charge of the garage have the keys to your car so they could move it?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Rest assured, it's being used on a regular basis. Yeah,
and you have nothing to worry about.
I wouldn't be the least bit concerned.
Yeah. Have you noticed little holes in the roof? That's where the taxi sign was.
So I shouldn't be at all concerned?
Well, I wouldn't really be concerned. You might want to make sure that you change the oil every 6 months.
Okay, so should I change it more frequently than I would by mileage?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Okay.
You should do it more than you would by mileage.
Yeah, I would say if you're planning a trip, if you travel every 6 months or more often than that. Before
a long trip about every 6 months.
Before you take that trip, change the oil and filter.
Okay.
Other than that, the other fluids are fine. The antifreeze doesn't care how long it sits there. It'll be perfectly all right. You may have a seal that dries up here or there. You may develop a little leak. But the nice thing about an 87 Tercel is that's an 87 Tercel.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you, John.
See ya.
Good luck, John.
Hi. All right, it's time for the new puzzler. But first, we have to take a short break.
Why?
So I can come up with a new puzzler, okay?
Wait, don't tell me. Fresh Air, up first. NPR News Now, Planet Money, TED Radio Hour, Throughline, the NPR Politics Podcast, Code Switch, Embedded, Books We Love, Wild Card. are just some of the podcasts you can enjoy sponsor-free with NPR Plus. Get all sorts of perks across more than 20 podcasts with the bundle option. Learn more at plus.npr.org.
The scary new movie Sinners from the director of Black Panther finds Michael B. Jordan playing twin brothers. It's got vampires, it's got great music, and it's a fun one to see with a big crowd.
This is the most excited I've been about a movie in a very long time.
We'll tell you why you should see Sinners on the biggest screen you can. Listen to the Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast from NPR.
When Malcolm Gladwell presented NPR's Throughline podcast with a Peabody Award, he praised it for its historical and moral clarity. On Throughline, we take you back in time to the origins of what's in the news, like presidential power, aging, and evangelicalism. Time travel with us every week on the Throughline podcast from NPR.
These days, there is a lot of news. It can be hard to keep up with what it means for you, your family, and your community. Consider This from NPR is a podcast that helps you make sense of the news. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a story and provide the context, backstory, and analysis you need to understand our rapidly changing world. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.
We're back. You're listening to, just when you thought it was safe, you're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tabbert Brothers, and we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and the new puzzler.
Okay, I can hardly wait.
Well, I wouldn't get too excited. I have a long list of potential puzzlers I could use here, but I decided to use this one that my son handed to me, my teenage son handed to me recently, that he got from some game that he has, and I can't divulge the game because if I gave you the
people would
name,
look up the answer.
You'd never look it up there. It's just too many. And I'll have to. I can't read it verbatim because that would be what? Stealing. Well, I could be accused.
And you're
of
above that?
I'm above that.
You
so
can be accused of that.
So I'll change the wording.
Okay, yeah. And throw a crusty here and in there once in a while.
There you go. Here it is. Long before planes were invented, some engineers were contemplating building a suspension bridge across the gorge, Niagara Falls. You know, there's a big gorge. You know what a gorge is?
Big hole.
A gorge is like a canyon with a river below. So you imagine this. You've got this river, and you've got these two walls that are virtually vertical, the river raging below, and you want to go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
You got the picture?
I got it, yeah.
You don't really.
I do. I got it.
Okay.
I've been there. If I hadn't been there, I wouldn't be able to visualize what you just said.
But there was, you wouldn't. I didn't think so. No. But there was no way to get the cables from one side to the other because there was no boat that could fight that current. I mean, they hadn't invented power boats at that time. This was in the days of steam, wind. When men were made of steel and ships are made of wood.
Yeah.
And anyway, they figured out they had to get the cables across somehow. And the engineers decided, or the builders, staged a contest open to the public to solve their problem.
Mm-hmm.
The contest was won by a young kid, a boy.
Really?
And shortly after the contest was completed, they were able to run the cables from one side of the gorge to the other. The question, very simply, is what
was the kid's name?
How old was he?
And what color shoes was he wearing?
What was the contest?
What was yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's pretty simple. This may be completely bogus.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as it's plausible.
It's plausible.
And that we won't get lots and lots of hate mail because someone has to answer all that hate mail,
I get it. I just throw it out. Anyway, if you think you know the answer to this puzzler or you have access to free postage at work, mail your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our Fair City.
Matt 02238. Or you can email us your answer from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section. And, of course, if we happen to choose your answer at random from among all the correct answers, you'll get one of our Car Talk T-shirts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you want to call us, the number is 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, guys.
Hi, who's this?
This is Teresa Bush.
Hi, Teresa.
Now, is there an H in that?
No H.
Where are you from?
I'm from Juneau, Alaska.
Juneau. Now, when was the last time I guess you're not the right person to necessarily ask this.
Why? Because she's a wacko living in Juneau? Is that the implication here?
That was yeah.
Okay. I just want to.
I didn't say anything like that. I just thought she wasn't representative of the average American woman.
I could read your mind, couldn't I? She's a wacko from Juneau.
But when was the last time?
Average American woman?
When was the last time you played a practical joke
on one of your girlfriends?
On anybody, girlfriend or boyfriend or anybody?
Like tying their shoelaces together.
Putting black shoe polish on the phone and saying, hi, Millie, it's for you.
Setting their hair on fire. And it's something real fun.
It's been a while.
But women, I think women tend to, you know what? It must be that mothering instinct.
You know what it is? They're mature.
Oh.
See, someone's got to grow up on the planet. Otherwise, we would have 5.5 billion people playing practical jokes.
You people, hot feet. I mean, you can't know what it's like to stick a lit cigar between somebody's toes at the beach and watch that burn down.
Yeah, I mean, but if everyone was doing it, it would. You have to.
It would get old.
It would get. It certainly would get out of hand.
It might get out of hand, but on the other hand, maybe we wouldn't be going to war and whatever. We'd be doing practical joke things.
That's right. It would give Saddam something else to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, jeez. So it's been a while.
I can see him now.
It's been a long while.
I just gave 2 of my generals anthrax. Boy, they're going to feel sick tomorrow. So, Teresa, thanks for calling.
No problem.
What's up?
Well, I have a 1976 Toyota Land Cruiser.
Wow.
Nothing to joke about there.
No.
And it's running, huh?
It runs like a charm.
No kidding.
Other than, I think I have a carburetor problem.
Aha.
What does it do that makes you think it has a carburetor problem?
I go to start it up, and it turns over, but it acts like it's not getting gas into the carburetor. It just goes on until the battery, I can keep trying it until the battery goes dead.
Really?
Right.
Do you pump the gas pedal a few times?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, it has an automatic choke, or not an automatic choke, manual choke.
Okay.
Even with that out, I tried that. It still acts like it's not getting gas. And so I've got out, hooked it up to my husband's old Ford that's sitting in the driveway, as far as jumper cables go, and then I put about a tablespoon of gasoline into the carburetor, and it will backfire and start.
Why do you wait till the battery goes dead before you do
Right,
this?
do the gasoline thing first.
That's more fun, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm playing with fire. That's why
Right.
I'm a little worried about it. But
This is more likely to be a problem if the thing has been sitting for a long period of time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it will sit for maybe 3 days, and then that's when it happens.
Right.
If it does sit for 3 days, that's when it happens.
Exactly.
Okay, so if it sits for 2 days, it starts most
Right.
of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because what's happening is the gasoline is either evaporating from the carburetor or somehow more likely leaking out.
Not in Juneau, Alaska.
No,
It's probably
not the-
frozen in there.
And the fuel pump doesn't have enough oomph to, especially when it's 29 degrees below zero, and the engine this has a mechanical pump.
Uh-huh.
And now you're asking the fuel pump to suck gasoline out of the tank and fill up the carburetor enough to start the thing. And the reason the teaspoon of gas works is that when you crank that engine and it starts and backfires that 7 seconds that it runs or whatever, that's enough to get that fuel pump, instead of going pump, 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 to go and fill up the carburetor, and then it starts.
I see.
So you have a variety of options.
Yes,
here.
you do.
You could try just starting the thing up every day for even a second,
Mm-hmm.
and that would probably solve the problem. Or you could install an auxiliary electric fuel pump.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And in the summer, when you would get vapor lock, this will assist in diminishing the effect. You don't have a summer, do
They
you?
don't have summer.
No.
Well,
Not
we
really.
kind of do.
What are you doing in Juneau, Teresa? You now that we've spoken to you, you don't sound like a wacko.
I'm a massage therapist, and I.
She is a wacko.
Wouldn't you want to? Pardon, I hate to ask an impertinent question, but wouldn't you want to be where there are people?
Evidently not.
No. No, actually, I'd rather be where there's fish. I like to fish.
You like to massage fish?
Yes. Yes.
Hey.
Talk about kinky.
They're more responsive.
Well, I mean, she likes to be with her husband, and that's it. And that's very nice. Yeah.
So did you follow him there? Did he follow you, or this was a mutual?
Did you meet there, or did you go there
Actually,
together?
we met here.
You met there.
We met here.
Ice fishing?
Ice fishing?
Yeah, well, I mean, what the hell do you do with Joe? I mean, I hate to come on already.
No, there's lots of things. We're in the
Name two.
middle of... I have a glacier like 5
Name
minutes
two, and
down.
snow can't be one of them. You have a glacier. That doesn't count.
Yeah, doesn't change much from day to day, really, right?
Yeah. Are there any trees?
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots
yeah.
of trees.
Lots of trees in my
Okay.
backyard.
All right. Well, we've given you enough of a hard time, and you've been very charming, and we'd like to have you leave with a cash prize, but we don't have any cash prizes, and you really don't qualify. So.
But it's been
so far away, right?
It's been a joy talking to you, Teresa. Thanks
You
a
guys
lot.
have been great. Hey, thanks for the advice.
See you
I'll
later.
try that.
What was the advice? I forgot what she
Bye-bye.
asked us.
I don't remember, but it was great anyway. Well, it's happened again. You vaporized yet another hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug, the subway fugitive, not a slave to fashion Berman.
And what was his phone number again?
Our associate producer and dean of the College of Auto. And you know, especially, he don't call him next week. He's going to be on vacation.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a week.
Yeah.
Because he might not be home. But leave a message.
Better still call tonight. Our associate producer and dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Crystal Ray, and our engineer is Jonathan Superhighway Sideburns Marston. Our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor is Mr. John S. Lawler. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Marge Novera. Our director of new product repair is Warren T. Myfoot, assisted by our customer care representative, Haywood Jabuzoff. Our staff butler from the Car Talk Mumbai division is Mahat Makot. Our document security expert from the island of Jamaica is Euripides Upman. Car Talk staff meteorologist is Al Nino. The former president of our auto parts division is George Bushing. Peekaboo Street directs our intensive care unit, which is known as the Peekaboo ICU. Our junkyard manager is Ricardo Desmontalban. Our director of moral support is Hugh Demand, and our Leo Tolstoy biographer is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe is Louis Dewey, known among cognoscenti in Harvard Square as Huey Louie Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack the Tappet Brothers, and don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother or my sister, for that matter.
She called.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't get them.
We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
And now, an extraordinarily important announcement. Here is Car Talk Plaza's chief mechanic, Mr. Vincent Boombatz. Vinny?
Hey, thank you very much. Now, if you just want a copy of this week's Car Talk show, which is number 12, the number is 1-888-CAR-JUNK.
Now, what if someone wanted Car Talk CDs or T-shirts? Would they call that very same number, Vinny?
No, you call Kenneth Starr's office. Of course, you call the same number, 888-CAR-JUNK. Or you can get stuff through the online shameless, commerce division at cartalk.msn.com. You know what I mean? You know, huh?
Vinny, have you ever heard of the relaxation response?
Hey, you want to be relaxed? Come here. Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though NPR's lawyers encourage us to mumble when we say it, we won't, because this is NPR, National Public Radio.
Support for NPR comes from NPR member stations and Eric and Wendy Schmidt through the Schmidt Family Foundation, working together to create a just world where all people have access to renewable energy, clean air and water, and healthy food. The Schmidt Family Foundation is part of the philanthropic organizations and initiatives created and funded by Eric and Wendy Schmidt to work toward a healthy, resilient, secure world for all. On the web at theschmidt.org.
Aviv Regev is the co-founder of the Human Cell Atlas. It's a huge leap in understanding how human cells work. She says it's like upgrading from a 15th century map of the world to Google Maps.
If I want to develop a medicine that would only go to the place where something is broken, I need to know how to get there.
The new wave of biotechnology that's on the TED Radio Hour podcast from NPR.
Support for NPR and the following message come from the Kauffman Foundation, providing access to opportunities that help people achieve financial stability, upward mobility, and economic prosperity, regardless of race, gender, or geography. Kaufman.org.